Boys,
The gang is back.
has anyone seen the new episode of Fallout?
Oh, heck
No.
yes.
I did. It was amazing.
What, season 2?
Season 2, yeah.
Yep. We're
Okay.
back. We're so
I
back.
didn't know it was back. Awesome. I enjoyed season 1.
I hope they don't. TV has this problem sometimes where like they feel like they've got a good thing going, so they drag it out and they drag it out just to see how long they can keep it going. They're like, I want a good final confrontation between I forget her name and her dad. I want a resolution at some point in the relatively near future.
Yeah, TV really does have that problem. My favorite example is, did you guys watch Prison Break back in the day?
I've seen pieces of it. I'd never actually watched it, but I've seen episodes.
Well, it's like he breaks out of prison at the end of the first season, and it's like, what do we do now? I guess we'll throw him in a different prison.
yeah, you got to send him back,
Stuff like
right?
that.
So that's the name of the show.
He's got to get caught, right?
Well, we didn't really think this far ahead, and we're kind of stuck now. It was just the funniest thing. It like ruined the show, but like season 1 was really good. Hilarious.
That's kind of how I feel about Reacher. Reacher season 1 was really good. I know they're based on books, but no season has even come even close to as good as season 1. And none of the season 1 characters like came back really, except for Reacher. It's like, oh, it was gold and then it was gone.
I don't think I ever watched that. I know I kept seeing for a while, kept seeing recommendations of it, but I don't think I ever watched it.
It's way better than the movie.
Yeah, I saw that movie years ago. I forgot about that. Tom Cruise was in that, I think.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm done. I'm on vacation now. So, dude, I've been shipping. I've been busy. How was last week without me? Y'all just say you missed me and we can move on.
We did miss you.
There you go. I was busy in ship mode. December, Black Friday, although Black Friday now is 2 weeks ago. It all kind of coalesced. I had a lot going on, but I am free. I am homeward bound until January. It feels great. And it feels great here.
We all have to give a huge shout out to Marco for winning the Luminary Award yesterday.
Oh, yeah. That was on my list of things to talk about today.
Big deal. That's pretty awesome. It is a little strange that it wasn't at Rails World. I don't know if they were just busy or whatever, but they surprised him at a meetup. I think it was at the Renuo offices.
Did you see the message from Amanda about the meetup? Apparently, Marco was feeling a little under the weather, so wasn't sure he was going to go. And so they had to be like, you should really come. Something cool might be happening. Please come.
He messaged me the day before and was like, do you know anything about what's going on with the award? Because I've gotten these strange messages asking if I'm going to be at this meetup. And apparently Xavier and Amanda are going to be there and I'm not feeling great. So I was thinking about skipping, but now I feel like I need to go. And I was like, you probably need to go. I don't know anything about it, but it seems very, very suggestive about the award. So
it's like trying to get your friend to a surprise birthday party. You're like, okay, I really need you to be here. And I can't tell you why, but you're just going to have to trust me. We got to go.
It's exactly that. Yeah, that was pretty great. Excited to see the recognition for him and all the cool stuff he's been doing, especially lately with Herb and Reaction View and everything. Awesome. Awesome. What else is new in Ruby and Rails land with you guys?
AI, I don't know. That's crammed
That's
down my
all you
brain
think about
recently.
these days.
That's all I think about is AI and my agents and what they're doing right now.
I went down a rabbit hole on AI last night. Some post I saw on Blue Sky that somebody was basically like, I'm going to cancel my Chat GPT subscription and just get a Mac Mini and run an LLM on it. And for some reason, the idea that that was actually a feasible thing that a person could do was not something that had ever occurred to me. So I just went down the rabbit hole. I was like, ooh, what could I do if I got some hardware and put some stuff on it?
I was talking about this the other day. I think self-hosting your own LLM is going to be a lot better. I have an M5. The thing can do some stuff. So, I run GPT OSS locally through Olama.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be bigger and bigger, like, especially like, or otherwise we're all going to be out here begging for tokens on the street, dude, because that's only going to get more expensive. And so, yeah, I think the open source route is definitely going to become more and more interesting. Is that not partially why RAM prices are going all the way up? Because we got to run these AIs. So
it's insane. RAM prices are wild. I guess they're booked out till like 2028 or something now. Don't expect to get RAM soon for a reasonable price.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and paying I remember being able to get a 1 gigabyte stick, and that was crazy. And it was expensive too, right? Like a 4 gigabyte stick was really expensive. And then they were really cheap, and they were just handing them out at conferences. And now we're going to be back, dude. The pendulum, we're back in the graph, dude. We're going back to the hump.
It's crazy. Something so common, like it's a commodity almost. You would think like everything needs RAM.
The problem is everything needs it now.
Yeah. And they need a lot. What was your headline?
Where did it go? I'm not really keyed into what happened here. I just know like the effect.
We just need all the RAM.
Go?
Yeah, I saw a headline the other day. It was basically like a subsidiary of Samsung that makes RAM won't even sell RAM to one of the other Samsung subsidiaries.
Yeah, one of the Samsung, the Galaxy team. Yeah, I saw that.
That's messed up.
Insane.
So first we're going to be begging for tokens. Now we're going to be begging for RAM. We're all going to be fishing those like gigabyte sticks out of our drawers and stuff. And like, oh, where is it? I need the RAM.
How much more can I squeeze out of this?
Please, sir, do you have any RAM to spare? My children are starving.
Yeah. I need to power my LLMs. I need the RAM.
My kids can't do their homework without it.
Yeah. How are they supposed to get into college if they can't do their homework?
If they don't have the tokens.
Yeah, they don't have the tokens. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so everything's bad. Anyway.
This is the great future we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'm glad I built my desktop last year or whatever, and I was planning on waiting to upgrade my MacBook from the N1 to the M5 Max or something whenever it comes out, but I don't know anymore. We'll see. Maybe the Apple RAM upgrade prices will just be like average at this point instead of quadrupled.
Somehow I doubt that.
I like that fairy tale you live in. Let me get in there. I like that fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious. Like, it's interesting to think about like who manufactures that, and I'm sure they've got like quite the pipeline for it, but at some point they're going to probably have to raise the prices for it just because everybody else is. So who knows? But not looking forward to it. What was it? Ruby 3.4.8. And maybe that was the only one that came out this week.
Didn't Bundler 4 get released?
It did. Let's see. 3.4.8 came out and 4.0 Preview 3 came out today. I believe the important thing in 3.4.8 is that it's got that OpenSSL fix for Mac OS. So I think you can update to it and drop the OpenSSL gem from the gem file. I mean, you can still keep it in there so you get the latest version of it, but it, I believe, includes that fix. I need to go test it. I upgraded, but didn't actually go test it. And then it looks like 3.4.9 is scheduled for February, which is nice to see these like consistent rollouts on a schedule. It's not something we like have had in Ruby for the language, for the frameworks. This feels nice. I like it.
It does. I'm so excited that SSL thing is being fixed so I can remove that random sketchy shell script I have injected into my Ruby environment config somewhere.
Oh boy.
Somewhere there's like a piece of duct tape holding my entire Ruby setup together with that OpenSSL.
That's funny. Whew. All I had to do was install the gem in the gem file to get the latest, and
that didn't work.
Everything works for me. You got some real sketchy stuff going on.
I don't know. Maybe I think was OpenSSL released after that to like fix it, because maybe that's what happened. Is like I tried to add OpenSSL before it got fixed. Anyway. Well, yeah, it is really nice to have these updates, so we don't have to wait like a year for it.
Let me tell you a quick story about our sponsor, Honeybadger.io. One time, a customer of theirs had a background job run overnight that caused hundreds of thousands of errors to be reported to Honeybadger by mistake. Like many other error tracking and performance monitoring tools, Honeybadger bills for monthly usage, and so this customer's mistake was going to cost them a lot of extra money that month. If you've ever used a monitoring service, you might have experienced something like this yourself. Well, fortunately for this customer, they emailed Honeybadger's support and received the most amazing reply. Honeybadger was resetting their monthly quota and canceling the bill. This is just one example of how much the small team at Honeybadger cares about their users. Ask anyone you know and you'll hear similar stories. Go check them out at honeybadger.io. It's free to get started and setup takes less than 5 minutes. Don't forget to bookmark it. That's www.honeybadger.io. It's just one of those things that like is super annoying for anybody new, especially because it's like, what do you mean I can't make HTTP requests? It's a programming language. What are you talking about? And I shouldn't have to think about this. So that's good. The years that device was broken with Rails and like wouldn't properly return the status codes, that's just not a good look for the community in general. And maybe it's worse in other communities, but we got to keep the polish up enough that people keep joining and don't leave. And we get to all benefit from that. Bigger the better the community, I think. So
Yeah. Like this polished podcast.
Yep.
I say wearing sweatpants and no shirt.
If only people saw the video.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, gosh, my eyes are burning.
Jacket, no shirt. It's the key, dude.
I'm excited for Ruby 4 to come out on Christmas next week.
Yeah.
What is Christmas? Thursday?
I think so.
Yep.
1 week from today, then.
Do we know what's all in it? I haven't even looked.
Gems, some rubies.
Okay.
Let's see. Preview 3. New experimental feature to provide separation about definitions for the detail of Ruby box. See language box.md. This is that like namespacing feature, isn't it?
Oh,
it got renamed to box or whatever. You can put things in the box.
I like
Cool.
box.
I'll have to try it out. I don't really know, but it seems like you instantiate a box and then you can call like require on the box and load stuff in there. And
So does UPS do the loading or do I have to do that myself?
I don't know if it's sponsored by FedEx or what.
DHT.
Yeah. So that's cool. I don't know where it'll come into play day to day. I don't know if it's something that's maybe libraries can take more advantage of. So, for example, if you have like a specific version of Faraday and something else uses a different, like the client application uses an old Faraday or newer Faraday, maybe that's a good example where like
I think that's
they
the
can
example
run
they gave.
independently.
The example they gave was with Nokogiri, I think, previously, because we've gone over this in the past. And I think Nokogiri was their specific example.
That way, your library or whatever can just keep using its verified stuff, but your dependencies in your application that may conflict, then they're independent, which is nice, I guess. I still ideally want them all running kind of the same stuff. Usually that's security fixes or bug fixes or something when one of them is behind. But if there's like a big refactoring, like Faraday 1 to 2 or something, then sure, that means that you could just upgrade your code, but not the library or vice versa. And that would be kind of nice. I wonder if there's like a possibility of this being like something that could just automatically be done by a gem, an invisible wrapper on it almost. And I guess maybe not because you have to like instantiate the box and then call require on it. But in theory, Ruby gems could do that or bundler behind the scenes. And like those could be all independent, but maybe you do want that because you want to expose some of those.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think about
things.
like
I'm not sure.
There are teams out there who have to have like every single dependency upgrade like audited and like reviewed by security teams. So like I'm sure this type of thing will come in much more handy for places like that are just at a much bigger scale. And yeah, I'm sure the library authors as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like polluting your namespace or something. Like if you add a dependency and it pulls in HTTP party, but you don't want to have access to HTTP party in your code base, then like the API client could just say, cool, we'll use it and we'll just keep it to ourselves. Because right now, if a dependency loads another dependency, then your application has it available too. So it may be a cool thing to do some protection that way or whatever, but I don't know. I'll be curious to see it used in the wild whenever this drops. And if anybody has actually used it or has a really good use case, like send us a message. Love to hear about it because that's a really cool feature, but it's one we've like worked around for our entire lives. So it doesn't feel that necessary, but we're kind of used to it, I think. So anyways, what else we got here? Language changes.
Come in before.
This says one of the language changes is splat nil no longer calls nil to a, similar to how double splat nil does not call nil to hash. Interesting. Wonder why that change came into effect. Because I feel like maybe it's just, let's see, Jeremy Evans, 11 months ago. Ruby 3.3, we started accepting double splat nil for keyword splats. Does not call nil to hash, unlike other uses of double splat. For splatting, this makes double splat nil handling inconsistent with splat nil handling, as splat nil historically is called to a. So I guess maybe it's just like a sort of internal thing that's changing that you probably don't get affected by. I'm guessing.
It seems like a correction.
It says minor backwards compatibility breakage, though it is very unlikely. Any code other than test code will break because overriding nil to a to return anything other than the empty array would likely break any large Ruby application.
I mean, this is going to reduce surprise coercion, right?
Yeah, because that would be strange to do that. You know, that's an interesting thing. I wonder if this is related to a thing that I was dealing with on Noticed, where we collect like the arguments and the keyword args for a mailer, and I was trying to forward them over with send. So I was doing like a splat and double splat on the arguments we've saved, and it would accidentally put something in the wrong place, and I couldn't get it to put args and keyword args through send for some reason. I could do it like manually in IRB, but for whatever reason, I was having trouble with doing that because it would like put something in the keyword args would end up inside of the arguments or something. I forget what the issue was. It was a few weeks ago that I looked at that. Maybe this is something that will magically fix. So I'll have to try this out and see. I'm curious about that. Because it's basically like right now, the implementation, I think in Noticed, only allows you to pass in like keyword args through the with on your mailers. But if you call the method name, you can pass in arguments and keyword args, you know, like any other method call. So we were trying to add support with that, but I wanted to make sure that we could do regular array of arguments plus the hash of args at the end. But for whatever reason, it wouldn't do both. It would do one or the other. And then it was like a weird bug. And if I merged that, it was like, yeah, you can use arguments to the method, but you can only do one of the two types. And it was like, okay, well, we can't merge that because we got to make it work properly, you know? So I was not sure about that, but I've kind of switched to using with for pretty much all my mailer arguments. Do you guys use that or?
Yeah, I do.
Or not?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
I wonder how many people do versus regular arguments, because it's kind of magical just being passed through active job and they get serialized and whatever. And I think it's pretty much the same way that with works. It's just a hash instead of method arguments.
Now that I think about it, I think I do both. if we're being honest.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do. I'm fairly sure I use both. I like try to stick with, but I guarantee you I could pull up a mailer right now and it's got like a receipt and it gives the user or the charge or something as a regular argument or something. Guarantee it.
I think it's one of those things where when you work in a big code base like mine, there's like new stuff and then there's kind of old stuff. And when you're, that's kind of like the thing I need to do. And you don't really know, oh, well, I'm just going to pull these pieces out. And you're like, well, it does it like this. I'm sure we'll just keep doing it like that.
Right.
Break something that works, you know?
And that was probably like, I don't know, Rails 4 or something when the parameterized mailers came into play. That's some interesting code if you want to poke around Rails. The like parameterized concern or module for action mailer is kind of this like just interception into, hey, you called with, let's keep track of the class you called it on and the arguments you passed in. We'll just stash them away until you actually call like deliver or a method later. And it's slick. It just kind of is this decorator almost for your actual mailer. It's pretty cool implementation, very meta in order to do that, but it's also like kind of didn't have to refactor and change the code of action mailer. It was just like, hey, we'll add this on, do a little magic on top. Nobody's the wiser and it just works. So I thought that was a really cool thing in Rails. If anybody wants to go look at that.
Hi, I'm Adam from JudoScale, and like most of you, I'm never going to be as smart, funny, and good-looking as Andrew and Chris. But hey, at least they let me sponsor their podcast. I'll make it quick. JudoScale is an autoscaler for Heroku, Render, Fly, and AWS. We're a better autoscaler because we track more effective metrics, analyze them more frequently, and give you the controls you need to dial in predictable and reliable scaling. Traffic spikes, request timeouts, backed up job queues, JudoScale has you covered. Head to judoscale.com/remote-ruby to learn more.
You left off the most important thing about this entire change. The logical operators in the next line.
Oh, yeah. That was the next thing the logical binary operators.
Yes. Dude, I like
that was the next one I was going to look at. So, or, and an or at the beginning of the line, continue the previous line, like fluent dot. I never knew that was called fluent dot.
No, I didn't know that either. So you can do like if conditional, and then on the next line do and conditional 2, and then on the next line do and conditional 3, and then the
yeah, because the way that you can do it right now is you end the line with and then a new line, and you can put your stuff there. But like the fluent dot is that syntax of like something, and then you call a method on it with dot in the method name on the next line. So the dot doesn't have to be on the previous line. It's just kind of chained. It's also, as if those lines were together. So this makes that consistent. That's cool.
It's a big thing for like diffing, right? Because if you don't have to change the line above to add a new conditional, you're not on that blame. So you can help get a cleaner diff. That's why the fluid dot 2 is like, if you have your dot before on the line, then you don't have to change the previous line to update it.
I like that a lot. That's a tiny little change, but it is just one of those things. Like if you have quite a few conditions you're checking in one if statement, if they're just like long, you used to have to put it on one line or do the ampersand, but it wasn't easy to recognize that this was still part of that conditional on the next line. So this is super cool. I like it. What else we got here? Core class updates. They're only listing outstanding class updates. The ones that are subpar, not included here. Kernel inspect now checks for the existence of an instance variables to inspect method, allowing control over which instance variables are displayed on the inspect string. That's cool.
That's really
I like that a lot. That just kind of gives you a hook to say like, let's filter out passwords or something, but give you a very easy way to do everything else.
And this
that's cool.
array rfind method is really nice to find the last element matching a conditional. Like I do that all the time where you have to do reverse each find.
Let's see. I'm trying to find that.
So you could have an array and do .rfind ampersand symbol odd question mark, and it would return the last odd element in the array.
Oh, that's cool. rfind file stat birth time. Hilarious.
That birth.
That's a great name.
Amazing.
Birth time.
So
when was this file birth?
Is that to appease like the upcoming like clinker revolution? Yeah, well, see, it's not created time, it's birth time. See, we did that for y'all.
Oh, what else you got here?
Got Raptor stuff, which I think I was at a talk that talked about this. But yeah, there's a bunch of like updates to Raptors coming out. I can't remember if that was at Rails World or SF Ruby. Maybe both, actually.
It looks like source location on methods and procs gives you start column, end line, end column now instead of just the path and the start line. That could be convenient. A little more metadata for your editor or anything else that might need to do that. Poke around methods.
Fiber enhancements, new APIs for the scheduler, and interrupt mechanisms to cancel fibers, block by IO when underlying operation is closed. Interesting. I haven't really used fibers that much, but I think those in Raptors are going to become a lot bigger in the next year.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like set and path name are no longer default gems core classes. So I assume then we don't have to require them.
Yes, you do not have to require set or path name anymore. Then the CGI library got removed from the default gems, but commonly used helpers like CGI escape remain available via CGI escape.
Isn't there like a URI escape too?
Dude, okay, no, I don't want to get into this. This is going to piss me off. I spent like 2 or 3 days struggling with this. And then there's also some gem that everyone uses that does it as well. Like, it's just a nightmare, dude. CGI is, oh my God, it's a nightmare. Especially when it comes to emails and like, oh my God.
I know I hit something when I just immediately get you triggered.
Dude, I had to look away from the screen and like remember back to the trauma. Dude, I could hear the helicopters.
Like, yeah, this is end of podcast. See you later.
It was one of the It was.
This is cool. To change topics here, that Ruby constant thing. Did you see that?
Yeah, their Ruby top level module.
The version, the platform, the patch level, revision, engine,
constants,
engine version, release date, all that stuff is going to be easily accessible.
Yep.
That's nice. But nothing super big. There's ZJIT is part of it.
But it's not
so
default, right?
No, neither really is YJIT. My favorite thing was reading about you don't want to enable YJIT as soon as Rails boots. You want to actually enable it once your application's loaded so that it can optimize the code that is often used as opposed to like optimizing code that ran on boot a few times and that's it.
I did not.
We'll never run it again. So yeah, there's a PR in Rails that I think it was Beirut added or something. And I was like, oh, this is incredible. Like my naive understanding was like, yeah, you just turn on YJIT and that's great. But it immediately made sense to me. It was like, yeah, of course. I want all my controller methods or my models and that kind of stuff to be optimized with YJIT more than the Rails framework code. So I thought that was super cool. Just like any of the booting up process, we don't really need to optimize that for the long term of a long running web server. So
right, that doesn't help my running application.
Right. Or just memory bloats it a little bit because you optimize things that are not really necessary or whatever. So, yeah, cool. I'm excited for this to drop next week and upgrade all my apps to it. Looks like, again, it's going to be just such a simple upgrade process. No breaking changes for the most part. Maybe the CGI escape or whatever, but I don't know if it's things like when set and path name change to a core class, do you end up having to wrap the like reference it and then require it in your library if you are trying to like support older versions? Maybe there's a little bit of things like that going on. that are
you could use a box.
breaking. Boom.
Maybe.
This is what the box is for.
I feel like if I'm understanding the box right, it's totally possible. I'm not. It feels like something you use the box for.
Just throw it in the box.
Throw it in the box.
Yeah, I'll have to play with that because that's interesting. And then, like, yeah, the CGI library being removed from default gems, but like CGI escape still exists. So, like, you can require that. But previously, if you were depending on that, you probably required CGI. So, do I then have to go write some if statement? Well, and you can't use the new Ruby constant to look at the version numbers. So you have to do like the RB config or whatever the other way of.
But you could check the existence of it.
Or you can, I guess, you can just like do a begin and require CGI escape or whatever, and then rescue, load error, and whatever. That stuff is definitely fine or whatever. But I learned that you couldn't do, I just did this for Jumpstart in their refactoring. So we don't have a YAML file for configuration anymore. It's just a Ruby script, which is awesome, super simple. But it turns out you can't do an inline rescue from load error. That still raises the exception when you say like require this file. You can't say require this file rescue load error and just like ignore it. Because basically I wanted to do that if you boot up the app for the first time and don't have a Jumpstart config. Let's safely skip requiring that file because it doesn't exist. But you have to do like the 4-liner version of it with a begin, separate line for require, separate rescue, and a separate end, even though your rescue and end are empty. I've seen that in Rails and whatever else. And usually they print an error message there. I don't need to do that in my case, but it'd be nice if that could have been a 1-liner. But I guess I kind of understand why you want it to be not generally. That is an exception you definitely need to tell people like, you're missing a gem here or something. So anyways, yeah, let's wrap it up here and enjoy the holidays. And then we are going to be back before New Year's. We're not taking breaks for you guys. This is important.
The train keeps on chugging.
All right, gentlemen.
All
Talk
right.
to you soon.
Peace.
Later.